Welcome to the City Current Radio Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're diving into the world of screenwriting, creative writing, storytelling, all the above with Kim Fisher. How are you doing, Kim?
Oh, just doing great, Jeremy. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So before we dive into the art of screenwriting, give us a little bit of just your story and background and how you got into screenwriting.
Well, it started with a very high pressure day. It was a stressful day, and it was about 2 years ago. And I looked in the mirror and I said to myself, what is it do I possess? Like, what talent do I possess? I wanted a change in my life. And I wanted to know what it feels like to get paid for. I want to know what it feels like to get paid for what I really love to do. And so I said, what is it that I possess? And I said, well, I know how to write. And then doubt creeped in, and I would say to myself, well, anyone knows how to write, right? You know, obviously anyone can have these thoughts. So, but I left with, I'm going to write and I'm going to try it. And I start writing every day. So that was about 2 years ago. So I wrote a novel. I have a fiction manuscript, and the name of it is called Al Dwayne. And it's my character's middle name, Carl Al Dwayne Harris. And it's a setting in Memphis, and it's about an African-American boy living in the inner city, but he has an extremely high IQ. And he's growing up in a really dysfunctional family, but he meets just an not so ordinary principal at school. So he toggles between wanting to be great and college bound or living the life in the streets like his infamous Uncle Sonny, who is a dishonorable, discharged Marine that's mad at the world. And so that's the book. And then after that, the next goal was, well, I have this manuscript. What am I going to do with it? And I said, well, my next goal is I'm going to write a screenplay. I didn't know what a screenplay looked like, never seen anything about it. All I know was I was researching, and Final Draft was the industry standard. So that's what I did first. I ordered Final Draft. So as you can see, I have this Final Draft page that's blank in front of me. And so then I just started ordering all these books off Amazon. So I started reading until I was dizzy. And one book really stood out. Several did, but one really did. And it was Stephen King's On Writing. It was a remarkable book. It was raw. It was holding my hand, and it spoke to me. But at the same time, I still need a tutorial process. I needed a process because I've got this blank page in front of me. And so I said, well, maybe if I go to the internet and if I Google some things, maybe I can read some articles that people have encountered and embrace that. So I read an article. No, I looked at a particular thing. I was researching about the dramatic premise. And so that was the term that I typed into Google. So I typed dramatic premise in, and ping, an article popped up. And I read the article, and it was so eye-opening. It spoke to me. It was as if the author was speaking to me, holding my hand physically there with me. And that wasn't true. It was COVID-19. It was the wake of COVID-19. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I found myself writing my first page from that article, which was a metaphor. I was able to get a metaphor on the first page because in screenwriting, you have to start with the metaphor. And so then I got so elated, I just started hammering, frantically reading everything this author had written. So then I read another term that got me to the second page. And I said, I've got to thank this man. Without him, I would not have had 2 pages. So I looked, and the author's name, he is an award-winning writer and filmmaker, and his name is Donald Vasicek. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is my guy, tag, he's it, you know? So I said, well, I'm going to thank him. And at first I was like, well, he's never going to email me back, you know? But I did, I emailed him, and he emailed me back. And he thanked me and told me if I get stuck, he was here for me. And if I had questions, I could ask him whatever. And Jeremy, that was the spark of it, you know? And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. So as Don and I were talking, we're communicating, it's COVID-19. And so I was so proud. I said, Don, I finished my screenplay. He said, congratulations, Kim, send it to me. And of course, at that time, I was a client. So I hired him to, be my consultant. And I sent him my screenplay, and Don sent back about maybe 92 pages of notes. And I was like, whoa, I got work to do, And so looking back on it now, like it's been a year later, our communications have spawned into something above my wildest dreams.
Well, and also now you're winning awards as a screenwriter. And so I think, but your story resonates on so many different levels, I think, especially for listeners, one who want to follow a passion, who have a burning desire to say, I want to do something different. I want to follow a dream. Well, that's exactly what you did. You said, I looked at myself in the mirror one day. I wanted to change. I wanted to follow this burning desire. And next thing you know, you actually start doing it. Second is you did your homework. You did your research. You started really reading and investigating and pouring in and learning a craft that you didn't have necessarily prior knowledge to before, but you immersed yourself in the art of learning. And then you reached out and you got a mentor and a guide and a teacher. And now you look at already within that span of 2.5 years, how far you've come from a spark to now writing screenplays, which are winning awards. And so talk about that aspect now of seeing like the awards start to come in. And so talk a little about the awards and what you're seeing on the professional side already.
Oh, sure. It's so amazing. I'm overcome with emotion about it. One is because I never thought that it would be this way, but I remember vividly, Don told me, Kim, I want you to get this book, How to Write a Movie in 21 Days. And it's written by Vicki King. That's my screenwriting Bible. So the first screenplay I wrote is based off my book, as I said, but the title is called Willpower. So it's non-linear format. So I learned non-linear versus linear. So I wrote it on a non-linear format. And I asked my coach, I said, Don, do you think that I can go ahead and start submitting my first screenplay to contest? He said, absolutely, absolutely. And so I did. I submitted my first screenplay to a contest, and Willpower won quarterfinalist in Santa Monica Screenplays for Page Turner. And I couldn't believe it. So after that, I wrote my second screenplay, and it's titled Wood, W-O-O-D. And Wood was like a dream come true in essence, because I love the movie Taken. The plot is just, easy. And I love Liam Neeson. I just love the movie. So I watched the movie and I had a dream. And I woke up from the dream and I emailed Dawn. I said, Dawn, I had this dream. I had this dream about a young girl who lived in the Ukraine, and she was just struggling with her father's misogynist ways, and an illegal logging scheme was going on. I said, am I crazy? Like, can an African-American lady, a Black lady, write about a girl in the Ukraine? Like, am I crazy? He was like, no, research, become the character, do it. And I did. And so Wood is about a young girl who's heir to her father's woodworking business. And she's struggling, she's resisting his misogynist ways because she's not the son that he desired. So wood mafia henchmen target their family because they have an illegal logging scheme going on, and her father has all of this acreage. But yet one of the men in the group is he owns brothels. So he abducts Dana, and Dana's in the fight of her life. So it has feminist voice to it, and she finds her voice, and she helps other enslaved women. And Wood won finalist in Indonesia. And then Wood won semifinalists in Atlanta. And then I rewrote Wood to Girl on Fire, and Girl on Fire has won in France as finalist and as a finalist in Texas. So I'm very, very happy.
Yeah, that's so awesome. It's such a great story, but it's also too inspiring for so many others who see this as a path that they want to go on, like I said, and have this fire. But to see you saying, "Hey, I didn't grow up in this business," and to your point, like I can tell stories from all around the world, and you can, you don't have to look like the story. It's your chance to be a writer and to go on this journey and to share these stories and really just create. What advice would you give, just based on all that you've already learned, what advice would you give for others who want to become screenwriters? So what's one or two little bits of advice that you've taken already along the way that have been helpful for you that you would pass along for them as advice?
One thing that I would tell them is to be an extra on a movie set or a film set. And that was the spark that lit me, because not only was I just an extra, but when I got there, I noticed, hey, I can do that. I can write that dialogue better than that. I see where if I wrote that dialogue, where I could place that character and I could see the moving parts. So if you have a burning desire to write anything, once you are on a film set, you can see it just really come to life. So that would be my main advice. And my second tip would go to movies and watch movies in a way that you can see the format of it, see what happens in the first 5 minutes, the first 15, and then how everything comes together at the end for the finale.
So how do you watch movies now? Because I can imagine you're watching movies now very differently than you did before. So how are you processing movies?
Very much so. It's like when I go process a movie, I'm looking for the metaphor, the dramatic premise, the theme, the climax. I'm looking for the subtle hint where you're going to find out how the movie's going to end. And then at the end, I'm looking at everything tying together, not leaving the audience in awe or any ambiguity. I'm looking for things that make my writing better. So it's like, can I watch the movie without trying to write a movie or not?
So one of the things that fuels you and inspires you is your son. So talk about your son and the passion on that side.
Let me tell you, my son is remarkable. He is very intelligent. He has a zest for life. He has a hunger for learning. He loves the world around him and he loves all people. He's very articulate and very fun and fun loving, and he's got jokes, okay? But he's also karate like expert, like he'll be a black belt soon, right? And so he has Instagram followers that inspire and motivate him, and he receives over 1,000 views on his videos when he posts them on Instagram. So he'll come and find me in the house and pump his fist in the air and look, they love me. You see that kick, mom? Look, and he's excited. And in that moment, those moments inspire me. His gloating inspires me. But what truly inspires me is he fights every day for autism to not define him. And so that alone fuels my tenacity. It fuels my drive. It fuels a winning spirit in me, but not just to win to always go first place. It's an intrinsic win. It's a win that I want to surpass whatever thing that kept me from thinking that I couldn't do it, that I can do it, because my son is in it to win it, I'm telling you. And so he wants to become a college student, and he's pushing me away. And I respect that and I honor that, because at this point he's saying, okay, mom, I'm ready. And so I respect that and I honor that so much until I start researching for programs to help mainstream my son into college life, as well as independent learning skills. And so I found a very great program called CIP, and it's college internship program. And the closest campus to us is the Bloomington campus. So my son will be with a team of professionals who will help him with independent learning skills, as well as mainstream him on IU's campus, Indiana University's campus. So he is thrilled. Yes, we're excited about that.
Well, and it's once again, when you look at what you're doing and your passion and obviously your purpose too with your son, it's really powerful. And I think it does. It changes your perspective in a lot of ways in terms of how you view life. So
Yes.
wrap up on your end with website, contact information, social media. Where do we go to follow your journey and to keep up with everything that's amazing going on in your life?
Definitely, I'm on Twitter and I'm on Instagram, but Twitter is where I reside pretty much. And it's at KIMEE Elaine, capital ELAINE. That's at KIMEE, capital ELAINE. Kimberly Fisher.
Well, that makes it very, very easy for all of us to follow your adventures, and definitely congratulations on the success you've already had, but I can't wait to see even more coming in the future. So thank you for all you do, Kim, and thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you very much for having me, Jeremy.